Appearance in the entertainment industry has never been a trivial thing. Under the harsh glare of stage lights, it's not just talent that's exposed, but every curve of the body, every line on the face, every imperfection magnified for the world to see. We often marvel at stars who step into the spotlight at 50 or even 60, still carrying bodies like sculpted statues, sharp muscles, flawless skin, and radiant smiles. What most people don't realize is that behind those captivating exteriors often lie drastic cosmetic surgeries, some so extreme they risked their lives. Some chase an illusion of being forever 20. Others are pushed to the edge by the brutal pressure of fame. Different motives, but one haunting common ground: plastic surgery that shocked the world. Not every procedure made them shine brighter. For some, it triggered a chain of tragedies that stretched across decades. In other cases, the transformations were so drastic that fans could no longer recognize the idols they once loved. These are the 9 stories I'm about to tell, of male stars who turned to plastic surgery. Not to judge, but to expose the dark corners behind fame, where appearance stops being a choice and becomes a life-or-death battle. Al Roker. Al Roker, the beloved TV icon who stunned America with a dramatic physical transformation brought on by gastric bypass surgery and later, excess skin removal. For decades, he was the familiar face on the Today Show, standing confidently in front of the weather map, radiating warmth, optimism, and reliability. A long-lasting career, steady fame, and infectious positive energy are what most people associate with Al Roker. Yet few ever imagined that behind that cheerful morning smile was a years-long, exhausting battle with his own body. By the time he entered his 40s, Al weighed more than 330 pounds. His body felt like a suit of armor made of fat, tight, heavy, and unforgiving. Every step was slower, every breath more strained, as if he were constantly dragging the combined weight of work pressure and looming health fears. On March 15, 2002, Al made one of the hardest decisions of his life: gastric bypass surgery. It was far from a cosmetic choice. The risks of heart disease and diabetes hovered like dark storm clouds, and the demands of television, where appearance and stamina matter, only intensified the pressure. But deeper than all of that was a promise he had made to his father before he passed. A promise to live healthier, to take responsibility for his life. The surgery itself went smoothly, at least on paper. When Al woke up, he had stepped into an entirely new chapter. The weight began to fall rapidly. The numbers on the scale dropped almost relentlessly. In just the first year, more than 100 pounds disappeared. To the outside world, it looked like a miracle. Inside, however, his body was fighting to adjust. Eating became a precise calculation. Energy levels rose and crashed without warning. Nutrient deficiencies took their toll. And once the fat was gone, another problem emerged: loose, sagging skin. Skin hung from his stomach, chest, and arms like heavy curtains, turning simple movements into constant reminders of discomfort. Chafing, pulling, and restriction made it clear that the journey was not over. On April 20, 2003, Al underwent another major surgery, this time to remove the excess skin. About 11 pounds of skin were cut away, not for vanity, but to restore comfort and mobility. It was less about looking better and more about repairing the aftermath of a transformation that had come too fast, too intensely. After these procedures, Al's body slowly stabilized. The once chubby TV image was replaced by a slimmer, more agile version of himself, but that new body came with strict rules. His diet had to be tightly controlled. Portions were small, every bite eaten slowly and deliberately. Exercise was no longer optional. It became a non-negotiable part of daily life. During stressful periods at work, his weight did creep back up at times, once by nearly 40 pounds, shocking him into the realization that even a small lapse could unravel everything. Many people believe surgery is the finish line. For Al Roker, it was only the beginning. Gastric bypass and skin removal didn't just reshape his body. They forced him to confront old habits, emotional eating, and the limits of human willpower. The physical changes came quickly, but maintaining them required relentless discipline, often accompanied by fatigue, frustration, and moments of loneliness. Now in his 70s, Al Roker has maintained a relatively stable weight, and his overall health is far better than it was at his heaviest. Still, a body that has undergone multiple medical interventions is never completely at ease. On November 18, 2022, he was hospitalized for a stomach ulcer, a sobering reminder that his health journey remains fragile. Today, Al openly shares his story not to boast about weight loss, but to tell the truth about its cost. The courage it takes to step into the operating room. The long, painful recovery. The unexpected complications. And above all, the determination required to keep going when quitting would be easier. His journey is not just about losing weight. It's about surviving change and choosing every day not to give up. Randy Jackson. Randy Jackson, the heavyweight hitmaker who shocked the world by shrinking his body and forcing diabetes to back down. A legendary music producer, longtime American Idol judge, and the man behind countless chart-topping careers, Randy Jackson left an unmistakable imprint on pop culture. But behind that familiar judge's chair sat a body weighing over 350 pounds, quietly breaking down day after day. By age 47, Randy's body was sounding alarms he could no longer ignore. Constant fatigue, labored breathing, crushing exhaustion even while sitting still. A diagnosis of type 2 diabetes laid bare the cost of years spent rushing through life, skipped meals, late-night eating, non-stop work, and a schedule that never let him breathe. With a family history of obesity-related illness, the fear hit harder. Food stopped being pleasure. It became a daily battle between old habits and looming consequences. Work kept him trapped in a relentless cycle: studios, stages, packed flights. Meals were rushed, late, and careless. Eat fast. Eat whatever. Just survive the day. As the scale climbed, his health collapsed in parallel. Something had to give. On June 12, 2003, Randy Jackson made the most difficult decision of his life: gastric bypass surgery. It wasn't impulsive. It was the final option after every non-surgical attempt had failed. The procedure permanently reduced his stomach, forcing strict limits on how much his body could take in. It was a blunt, uncompromising solution. When he woke up, Randy knew instantly there was no going back. The first months after surgery were brutal. Every bite measured. Every spoonful controlled. His body struggled with vitamin deficiencies, dizziness, and relentless fatigue, constant reminders that surgery wasn't a miracle, just a tool. He had to relearn nutrition, commit to supplements, and monitor his health obsessively to avoid another collapse. Exercise was limited to light walking, slow movement, careful steps. Recovery felt like walking on thin ice. But the struggle paid off. The weight began to fall, quietly, steadily. In just 18 months, Randy lost more than 115 pounds. A new body emerged, but it carried the scars of rapid change. Loose skin hung from his arms, chest, and stomach. Still, he refused more surgery, choosing discipline and training instead. Even more powerful than the physical transformation was what happened inside. His diabetes markers stabilized. Risks dropped. Control returned. Against the odds, Randy maintained his new weight for over 2 decades, no small feat in a high-pressure industry. Stressful periods still caused fluctuations, sometimes adding 20 pounds, but the foundation held. Now in his 60s, Randy Jackson understands weight loss in its deepest sense. He shifted his focus to gut health, founding a company aimed at helping others protect and rebuild their bodies. The mission was born from personal pain, from surgery, nutrient deficiencies, and the constant fear of illness. His journey resonated, becoming a source of strength for others, celebrities and everyday people alike, facing similar battles. Looking back, gastric bypass didn't just change Randy Jackson's body. It rewired his entire outlook on life. Every pound lost came with sweat, anxiety, sacrifice, and relentless discipline. It wasn't an easy path, but it was the one that saved him. Smokey Robinson. Smokey Robinson, the Motown legend whose face would later spark as much conversation as his music. Smokey Robinson isn't just a singer, he's the sound of timeless soul, a voice woven into countless classics that shaped generations. For decades, he stood under the spotlight, effortlessly smooth, his melodies untouched by time. But as he stepped into his 60s, his body began whispering truths his music never revealed. Each time he walked on stage, the lights exposed what the songs could hide: deep lines around his eyes, creases at the corners of his mouth, silent markers of age etched across his face. While his voice remained ageless, his reflection told a different story. In an industry obsessed with youth, where fresh faces and flawless skin constantly flood the scene, comparisons crept in quietly, like cold air backstage. Smokey felt the widening gap between his youthful sound and an appearance that no longer matched it. The pressure was relentless. That growing insecurity became a powerful motivation. On April 10, 2005, Smokey Robinson made a life-altering decision. He entered surgery. A facelift performed by pulling the skin from beneath the ears, targeting sagging areas, combined with cheek fillers to restore volume and Botox to smooth deep forehead lines nearly 3 millimeters deep. Every adjustment was precise, calculated, reshaping the face that the world had known for decades. The aftermath was far from glamorous. Swelling, tightness, discomfort, forcing him away from stages and spotlights for weeks. Each glance in the mirror brought equal parts hope and fear. His familiar face looked different, stiffer, less expressive, as if his muscles were relearning how to move. But time worked quietly. The swelling faded. The skin settled. Wrinkles softened. Slowly, the rejuvenation revealed itself. A face that looked nearly 15 years younger. When Smokey returned to the stage, audiences noticed immediately. He appeared cleaner, brighter, refreshed. Yet praise came hand in hand with criticism. Some said his face looked stiff, unnatural. Smokey tried to brush it off, but the scrutiny lingered. He doubled down on self-care, spa treatments, massages, additional fillers, weaving cosmetic maintenance into his routine just like rehearsals and recording sessions. Through it all, one thing never changed: his voice. Smooth, instantly recognizable. Even at 80, Smokey Robinson continues to perform live, standing tall with quiet confidence. The physical transformation seemed to fuel a mental one: renewed energy in an industry notoriously unforgiving to age. Many believe that without those cosmetic choices, his journey on stage might have slowed long ago. In a world where image and music are inseparably linked, sometimes maintaining the right look becomes the price of staying relevant. For Smokey Robinson, this wasn't just about refreshing his face, it was about extending his legacy, keeping his music alive as time marched forward. Behind the spotlight lies a difficult truth. Artists must confront aging, competition, and the fear of being left behind. In Smokey's case, the gamble paid off: a revitalized appearance, renewed spirit, and a career that continues to endure, proving that while time may leave its marks, true soul never fades. Harry Belafonte, the folk legend whose eyes once carried the fire of a generation. A renowned singer, influential artist, and relentless social activist, Belafonte held an iconic place in cultural life for decades. Even as he entered his 60s, he remained a constant public presence. But time, patient and unforgiving, began leaving visible traces on his face, most noticeably in his eyes. His eyelids slowly drooped, softening the sharp, commanding gaze audiences had long known. Vision became strained during performances and long public engagements. Under harsh stage lights, the confidence that once came effortlessly began to feel heavier. What replaced it was a growing sense of fatigue that built month after month. Belafonte understood what was happening. Aging had arrived quietly, but it announced itself clearly in the most expressive part of his face. For a man whose life was bound to the stage and to community activism, maintaining a fresh, alert presence wasn't vanity, it was purpose. His message needed clarity, and he refused to let a tired appearance dull its impact. On March 5, 1995, Harry Belafonte made a decision that surprised many. He underwent eyelid lift surgery combined with facial fillers, an uncommon choice for artists of his generation. The procedure was relatively quick, involving small incisions to remove excess skin that had weighed down his gaze for years. Fillers were used to restore volume to areas hollowed by time, subtly renewing his appearance. Though the intervention was modest, the recovery was not. His eyes swelled and became highly sensitive, forcing him to step away from public life for nearly 6 months. Confined mostly to rest, his activities were limited to reduce strain and avoid complications. The days stretched long, quiet, tedious, and heavy with waiting. Then, gradually, the swelling faded. The change was undeniable. His eyes opened wider, his gaze regained its brightness and agility. The weariness was gone. His face looked healthier and refreshed, yet unmistakably his own. The transformation was subtle, felt more than seen, noticed without being easily explained. Belafonte returned to the stage and to public life with renewed energy. He resumed appearances at major events, continued his community advocacy, and spoke before crowds without the burden of strained vision or tired eyes. Even into his 90s, his image remained defined by calm authority and a luminous gaze, free of obvious sagging, yet untouched by artificiality. That 1995 decision became a quiet but significant moment in Harry Belafonte's journey. It was a bold step for an artist of his era, and the right one. The timely intervention didn't just restore his appearance, it strengthened his ability to remain active, influential, and fully present for decades more. By supporting both his vision and his vitality, it helped ensure that age would never dim the power of the icon he had become. Jermaine Jackson. Jermaine Jackson, the Jackson 5 member whose face became a visible timeline of fame, pressure, and relentless scrutiny. More than just a brother in a legendary family, Jermaine Jackson was a core pillar of the Jackson 5, a successful solo artist, and a lasting icon tied to one of the most influential musical dynasties in history. His voice left a deep mark on pop and R&B, his name carried weight, but fame came with a microscope. At the height of success, when the stage lights never went dark, every public appearance was dissected down to the smallest facial detail. The pressure was crushing. Comparisons were unavoidable, especially standing beside a brother who had become the global standard for performance and appearance. Praise, criticism, and constant chatter quietly piled up over the years, slowly eroding confidence that once came naturally from talent and family legacy. By July 12, 1985, Jermaine made his first decision to intervene. A nose lift. The goal sounded modest: narrow the nostrils by about 20%, bring balance to his face for the camera. The result was subtle, more refined, giving him a mature, composed look. But in an industry where even pores are magnified, that small change opened a door he couldn't close. Time moved on, and the music business grew harsher. Age began to leave its marks. Deep forehead lines, measured around 2 millimeters, caught the light every time he smiled or moved under the stage lamps. Early balding followed, his hairline retreating, revealing the exhaustion of decades of non-stop performing. The pressure was no longer just external. It had turned inward, wearing him down piece by piece. On September 8, 2008, Jermaine entered a more aggressive phase. This time, it wasn't a single procedure, it was a combination. Botox softened the deep forehead lines, tightening the skin and smoothing expressions under unforgiving lighting. Fillers restored volume, keeping his face from looking hollow or worn on stage. The most dramatic step was the hairline tattoo. More than 5,000 tiny ink points were placed into his scalp, extending his hairline by nearly 3 centimeters. From a distance, it worked. His hair looked fuller, denser, younger. Under stage lights, the gaps that once betrayed age were gone. The process wasn't easy. The first days were painful: tightness in the scalp, burning sensations, a dull ache in the forehead. Jermaine relied on strong painkillers and strict medical follow-ups. Even washing his face carried the fear of complications, of changes going wrong. It demanded patience, the same kind he had learned as a teenager, rehearsing endlessly to earn his place on stage. The final result sparked mixed reactions. Some critics said the new look felt artificial, less natural. But few could deny the outcome. Jermaine Jackson looked noticeably younger, his hair thicker, his presence stronger. Performing well into his 70s, his posture, confidence, and energy told the story of someone refusing to surrender to time. In the end, Jermaine Jackson's cosmetic journey wasn't just about beauty. It was the result of decades spent under impossible expectations, inside a family where image and fame were always weighed heavily. Each procedure was an attempt to reclaim control, to remain visible, relevant, and confident on the stage that defined his life. Love it or criticize it, those choices extended his presence in a ruthless industry where even the smallest facial detail can change everything. Lionel Richie, the sweet-voiced singer who quietly chose to edit time itself to keep his iconic smile alive. For decades, Lionel Richie was defined by his warm vocals, timeless hits, and an enduring presence that filled sold-out stages around the world. His image was inseparable from bright lights and roaring crowds. But as the years passed, the glow lingered longer than the body could easily keep up with. Under harsh stage lighting, where every shadow is magnified, even the smallest changes became impossible to hide. Lionel began to notice that his eyes, once the emotional center of his performances, were losing their natural openness. His eyelids drooped, casting a heaviness over his face. Expressions felt restrained, familiar songs seemed to carry more effort, and the energy that once flowed effortlessly began to feel weary. Deep lines etched across his forehead, marking every emotion at its peak. That realization made October 15, 2012 a turning point. In his 60s, Lionel Richie made a quiet, deliberate decision. He didn't want to change who he was, only to refine it, just enough so his face wouldn't betray the emotion he still felt on stage. He opted for a discreet surgical intervention. A precise laser eyelid procedure removed roughly 2 millimeters of excess skin. The numbers sounded small, but under stage lights, the difference was striking. From there, the rejuvenation continued carefully, step by calculated step. Botox was used to soften years of accumulated wrinkles. Deep laugh lines, nearly 1.5 centimeters, were treated just enough to relax the face without erasing its character. Subtle fillers helped maintain smoothness and prevent sagging common with age. Everything was done quietly, almost invisibly, over 5 meticulous hours, like fine-tuning a track so the rhythm never slips. Recovery was not easy. The first days brought tightness around the eyes, discomfort spreading across the forehead. His performance schedule was pushed back nearly 3 months. Every glance in the mirror became a test, walking the thin line between looking refreshed and looking unnatural. One misstep, and the familiar face millions loved could have felt foreign. Throughout his absence, Lionel firmly denied rumors of plastic surgery. He credited a healthy lifestyle, regular exercise, and a positive mindset. When he finally returned to the public eye, fans noticed something different, an inexplicably refreshed look that sparked endless speculation. Some praised advanced cosmetic techniques, others believed it was pure discipline and self-care. The truth lived somewhere in between, where modern medicine and personal habits quietly met. Back on stage, the transformation spoke for itself. His eyes appeared wider, brighter, more alert. His gaze carried emotion effortlessly, allowing every lyric to land with renewed clarity. His face looked rested, energized, giving classic ballads a surprising sense of new life. Now in his 70s, Lionel Richie continues to perform with remarkable vitality, showing few visible signs of age. Long concerts no longer feel like an uphill battle. His cosmetic choices, made in silence, mirrored the way he's protected his career for decades, with caution, precision, and respect for his identity. This was never just a story about appearance. It was about preserving emotion, about making sure that when his voice rises, his eyes still shine brightly enough to captivate the thousands watching below. Dwayne Johnson. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, the Hollywood superhero whose perfectly sculpted body hides a little-known chapter involving liposuction and the removal of excess chest tissue. Today, he stands as the ultimate action star, a symbol of raw power and discipline, a former wrestling legend who conquered Hollywood with an almost flawless muscular image. But behind that larger-than-life physique was a quiet struggle few ever noticed. During the most critical transition of his career, when the blinding lights of the wrestling ring slowly faded and movie cameras took center stage, Dwayne wasn't just carrying his fame with him, he was carrying immense pressure to reinvent himself. Back-to-back contracts, punishing shooting schedules, and relentless close-up shots demanded absolute physical perfection. Every muscle had to be camera-ready at all times. And that's when a long-suppressed issue began to surface. An abnormal chest enlargement, once concealed beneath wrestling gear, suddenly became an unforgiving flaw on the big screen. The cause traced back to years of hormonal imbalance during his competitive wrestling days, a period when steroids were used to sustain extreme strength. Over time, stubborn fat accumulated. Glandular tissue hardened and expanded, resisting even the most brutal training regimens. For a man whose identity was built on being the ultimate symbol of strength, the impact on his confidence was crushing. On May 20, 2005, Dwayne Johnson made a bold decision. He chose surgery, not vanity, but resolution. Doctors used liposuction technology to remove nearly 2 liters of accumulated fat from his chest, while excess gland tissue was completely excised to prevent recurrence. The operation lasted over 6 hours. Incisions were carefully hidden beneath the arms, minimizing scars and preserving the aesthetic of a body constantly under public scrutiny. Recovery was no easy victory. His chest swelled painfully, forcing him to halt all intense physical activity. 15 weeks of rest felt like torture for a man who thrived on constant motion. Watching his muscles temporarily deflate, feeling disconnected from his own body, placed enormous mental strain on him. Still, he understood this was a test of patience. When he finally returned to the gym, everything began again from zero. Light exercises replaced heavy lifts. Slowly, the chest flattened. Clean lines emerged. No signs of overgrowth returned. Session by session, he rebuilt the body he envisioned. Stronger, sharper, more controlled than before. Under the gym lights, the mirror reflected a transformation that went beyond muscle. The results became undeniable on screen. In blockbuster action films, especially franchises like Fast and Furious, Dwayne Johnson appeared shirtless with total confidence. His chest muscles were defined, balanced perfectly with his shoulders and arms, forming the superhero physique fans came to worship. No more awkward angles. No more hiding. Just dominance. Though some have noticed traces of medical intervention, Dwayne rarely speaks openly about the surgery. Still, its impact is undeniable. Now in his 50s, his body remains remarkably sharp, with no recurrence and no lasting complications. That 2005 surgery became the foundation of the image he has carried proudly for decades. This wasn't merely cosmetic enhancement. It was a strategic turning point, a calculated step in the transformation from wrestling star to global action icon, where every physical detail helped secure his place at the very top of Hollywood. Kanye West. Kanye West, musical genius, cultural disruptor, and fashion visionary, made a private decision that would quietly trigger a devastating chain reaction. Known today as Ye, he reshaped pop music and modern-style time and again with fearless, unconventional thinking. But behind the brilliance was relentless pressure, crushing workloads, non-stop performances, a tense family life, and an unforgiving public eye that never blinked. Online chatter soon turned cruel. His appearance became a target. Weight gain turned into a joke. And for someone like Kanye, obsessive about control, precision, and image down to the smallest detail, that scrutiny cut deep. Stress and exhaustion took their toll on his body, but he refused to accept the changes. In an industry where every photo is magnified and every angle dissected, the desire to look perfect slowly became an obsession. That obsession led to a drastic choice. On April 25, 2016, Kanye underwent full-body liposuction, focusing on his waist, hips, and stomach. Using laser technology designed to melt fat and reduce unevenness, surgeons removed nearly 4 liters of fat in a single procedure, an amount that stunned even industry insiders. His abdominal contours were carved sharply, forming a defined six-pack meant to restore the image he felt slipping away. But his body fought back. The recovery was brutal. Days turned into weeks of intense pain, exhaustion, and immobility. Painkillers became necessary just to sleep. At first, they were a temporary solution, something to get through post-surgery agony. But dependence crept in silently. His body adjusted. His mind followed. Sleepless nights multiplied. Mental instability grew harder to ignore. By November 21, 2016, everything collapsed. Kanye West was hospitalized for extreme exhaustion, a direct result of opioid dependence stemming from the surgery. What was meant to be a cosmetic fix became the spark for a full-blown health crisis. Tours were canceled. Plans unraveled. The image of the flawless genius began to crack in front of the world. When he eventually returned to public life, the physical change was undeniable. His waist slimmed to around 33 inches. His body looked more balanced, his clothes fit cleaner, his stage presence sharper than ever. But beneath that polished exterior, a fierce internal battle raged on. Mental health struggles became a long-term reality. 2 years later, Kanye spoke openly about the dark side of his 2016 liposuction. He warned about the hidden dangers of painkiller abuse after surgery, stressing how one seemingly small decision can spiral into something life-altering. He admitted that without the overwhelming pressure to maintain a perfect image, he might never have gone down that path. No one expected Kanye West's cosmetic surgery to do more than change his body. Instead, it opened the door to one of the most unstable periods of his life, proof that in a world obsessed with perfection, the price of appearance can be far higher than anyone imagines.